Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTbase.com. Welcome to our weekly COT review. Today we're going to be looking at the 40th Commitments of Traders Report of 2020, and as always we're going to start off by looking at the largest changes in commercials positions. So here we have the orange juice on top of our list with a 16% change. You can see that on the chart. It is definitely larger than average, suggesting we may actually see some further rally coming early next week. If we move on to the 5 years chart, then we get a chance to analyze the COT Extreme. And if you look at this 5 years chart, we may actually be a little bit closer to bullish extreme levels. The last, well, I would say relative extremes we saw were these bearish ones, not that large, but you can see it sort of halted that rally before that. I wouldn't consider this to be a significant extreme situation. It's mainly the COT change signal that we could act upon if we really wanted to use this report to do something with orange juice. Nevertheless, it's always good to go back in time and see where we had significant extremes, how the market reacted to those signals, and of course, once we receive an extreme in orange juice, we can act on that and expect a shift in the trend. The next market that we're going to analyze is the feeder cattle market with a similar change size, 15% change in commercials positions. And on this 1 year chart that I switched to, it's more visible. It is larger than average, but if you look at the chart, we do see similar changes quite often. So I wouldn't consider this to be such a big signal. I would actually neglect this and just move on and look at the 5 years chart and see how extreme this market has become. And if you look at it carefully, we are again, I could state, more or less in between the two major extremes. So again, sometimes that's what you get. You just go over to next market, another market, and you don't really see any good signals from the COT report. You're just going to accept that and move on and hope for a good signal with the next market. And who knows, gold, which is our next market with a 14% change in commercials positions, might actually be one. So here we have the gold market, and switching to the 1 year chart, we can see that change again, larger than average, but nothing too unusual. It does suggest we may see a bit of a decline, possibly on Monday, Tuesday. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the 5 years chart, well, we are actually closer to bearish extreme levels, but I would warn you that we had that extreme in February, which was a good signal because eventually the market did fall, but it did not really change the major trend. So I would say that until we reach an even greater extreme, a bearish one, for example, commercials reaching more than 400,000 contracts net short, or large speculators above 350, we can start considering a top, but that's not the case at the moment, at least if we want to listen to the COT report. So this suggests that this rally may easily continue on in the next couple of months, possibly years. We'll see. Moving on to large speculators COT Extreme, we've got the Russian ruble on top of our list with a 162 report extreme in large speculators positions. The same exact extreme can be witnessed in commercials. Now, what does that say? Well, you can see that we had a similar extreme back in August of 2017. It was a bullish COT extreme signal, halting this decline, pushing the market a bit higher. So it is a bullish COT extreme signal, no question about that. And as in all currencies, I would consider these COT extreme signals to be pretty effective. So it doesn't mean we're going to see Russian ruble just skyrocket on Monday, but it does suggest that we should be expecting some sort of strength coming in this market. Platinum will be the next market with a 63 report extreme, which, compared to the Russian ruble's 162, doesn't really seem to be that much. But you always want to look at it visually, meaning, compare it on the chart and see what that means. So here you can see that we are actually closer to bullish extreme levels. We've seen larger extremes. For example, in 2018, that was a successful signal pushing the market actually higher from there. So this is again a bullish extreme, suggesting in the medium to long term we should see platinum to rise to even greater levels. That's interesting to see. But as I always say, you should always compare the specific market that you're analyzing to corresponding or correlating markets and see what the COT report says over there. Livestock complex, something for our subscribers. Orange juice, we talked about that. So the next market will be the South African Rand. Here we have a 10 report extreme. So again, small number, but if we open the chart, then visually we can really come to a conclusion. And don't forget, the South African Rand does not have such a significant history. Nevertheless, it does have enough to really compare it. And comparing it to the past 5 years, again, we can state that we're more or less in between the two extremes. So not much to talk about. But who knows? There might actually be better opportunities if you open the small speculators a COT Extreme, or dig deeper and analyze the COT index, the move index. There's a lot to do here at COT Base. Of course, these weekly reviews are just a very short, brief picture of the market. I want you to give us a chance to show you what this system can really do. We offer, of course, all the markets that are available. You can also look at the newest COT report types, other data types like the futures and options data, or the options only data, which is pretty unique. You can analyze all sorts of data sets, whichever you're interested in. You can dig deep and, as I said, look at the COT index, the move index. You can add our long-term trend indicator, or simply analyze the volume and open interest if you wish. And of course, you can always go back in time and do a historical analysis and see how the reports and COT data help you in the past, or could have helped you in the past. So that was all for this review. Thank you very much for being with me. I appreciate your attention. I wish you a pleasant weekend. Take care. Goodbye.